Hello, hello, hello. No Frito, but we do have Harley, who's come dressed as a hitchhiker.
Yeah. Well, actually, I come dressed as Frito. Frito wears these every friend. He does wear Hawaiian shirts now.
Yeah.
Every time actually. So technically I'm dressed like Frito. I just look like a hitchhiker as my baseline.
Who's driving?
There's no one there right now.
All
I
right.
was with.
I thought the car was moving. I was like, oh my god.
No, they will be. They're in a coffee shop right now.
Okay.
I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. So, but
Okay.
I'm over here taking the AMA, so I can't miss my peoples.
Yeah, well, you said SC, so in your I'm not American, so I was like, well, what is SC? What? Yeah, so there you go. Question answered. It's South Carolina.
Yeah, I have 15 bug bites already. I'm not kidding. I woke up with covered in bug bites.
Very good.
I slept indoors, but that's how it goes. How are things over in England?
Cold.
Oh, well,
Cold, really cold. Yeah, really, really cold. Yeah, it's well, I say really cold, but unseasonably cold is probably the right way of saying it, because it's like, in our numbers, it's probably like 17 degrees, which is chilly for July. I think I don't know what that is in Americano, but Alice is here, by the way. She's here. Not only is she here at the click of a button like this. We're gonna spin the wheel.
Because I get
She
tipsy.
she's also here in the background because she's hosting our wheel for us. So we had 17 entries into the challenge we put out yesterday. There is a bit of a caveat we have to put, because we haven't had time to cross-reference the entries with the traders. So if anyone that wins is going to have to wait a little bit, and maybe we have to redraw, because we have to do a bit of clarification of the entries in the background to make sure that there's no sneaky people that are cheating, because we can cross-reference the wallets with the Foxify platform. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you had to trade minimum $5 on the Foxify platform before today's call, and you could enter, and you've got a chance to win $50 of MVP. I can't ask Alice. Alice is in the background, but I don't know. Harley, do you remember what it is? I can't completely remember, if I'm honest.
I can come in quickly.
She's here. It doesn't sound the same when you put it on your English accent.
I'm not putting my camera on. I'm not camera ready today. But
neither am I.
She's not. I will.
Yeah, so it's 4 times $50. So you could win up to 4 times technically if you won the wheel each time.
Easy money.
Yeah, but like Danny said, we will be checking before paying out. We just haven't had a chance to do it yet, to cross-reference against the Foxify data. So if you have submitted the quest but you haven't actually traded, and you're thinking, haha, I beat the system, I got on the wheel, if you win, you won't get paid out, because we will be checking.
Yeah, so if you filled out the quest and you haven't done the trade, I would say go and do it now, like right now. Get that trade in, and we can maybe let it fly. But if we do the check after this call, and you have all of your roles removed, you'll be banned, and you'll be packed off with Virgil in exile forever.
And most of all, Frito will be very disappointed. He won't be angry. He'll be disappointed.
Yeah. He would downgrade you from gold to bronze. Yeah, no. How cool do Frito's pictures look, by the way?
Yeah, every day he's just stunting on us with the new cool place. He's in Austria, right?
Yeah, it looks insane. I've heard that about. I've never been to Austria, but I've been many places, obviously in Europe, but never been. And I've heard it's meant to be just different level in terms of the scenery, but a bit bleak in the winter. So I think it's one of those places. If you can get out there in the summer, then it's a beautiful place to be. It looks a little bit. What was that? There was a famous film. Was it The Sound of
Schindler's
Music?
List.
No, There are similarities between the two films, apart from the women and the children dancing. Is it The Sound of Music, Alice? Is that the one that's kind of set in Second World War Austria?
I'm trying to stay out of the stream. Yes, I think so. I've never actually watched The Sound of Music, but I think so.
I can imagine Frito. So Martinga is here. Brilliant. Martinga, I have a little challenge for you. I would love to see some GIFs of Frito on The Sound of Music, which is Frito holiday GIFs. I think it'd be perfect. No pressure. We're also going to do a surprise giveaway, by the way. We're going to do a bit of a surprise giveaway today because we have 2 months of Austin Phoenix Fire Club NFTs. He hasn't been on for a couple of months, but they have been paying out. So I think he had. Do you remember how many he had, Alex? Was it 3 or 5? Was it 5?
Well, honestly, 5.
I think it was 5. Yeah. So we've got some payout. I've been trying to track Austin down, and I thought maybe we might be able to get him on the call today. But let me send a link. But he's a busy boy. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can try and get him on. But either way, what we can do is just like a spot giveaway, and then we can take it out of his PFC rewards when we get it all sorted with him in the coming days. So I think what we're going to do is a super juicy giveaway of $100 worth of MDB, just for being here, So you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to look pretty, but I'm just. What's a hashtag that we want somebody to hit to enter, and then we'll pick from the hashtags. So, guys, why didn't you come up with one? Because I'm hitting you on the spot here. Alice.
Hashtag burn MDB.
Hashtag burn MDB. Yeah. So put hashtag burn MDB in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, make love to the channel, do everything you possibly can to beef it up. And so yeah, hashtag burn MDB. If you can just do that in the comments, then in a bit what we'll do is we'll just randomly select one hashtag that's on the money, and you get $100 just for being here. So there you go. This is it. This is Demilla. Demilla never misses anything. He's so thrifty.
No.
He's so thrifty. I think a couple of things we want to talk about on today's call, because what we didn't want to do with Frito being away and not doing Friday Farm Frenzy for a couple of weeks, just to ease off. Albeit we would have had a lot of entries in the last 24 hours. We thought we kind of, we like the fact that we do sort of a community thing every week. And Alice even drops her English accent for it, and it's a special time. So we wanted to make sure we did it, and I thought it'd be a good time to talk about some of the fundamentals actually. So we'll talk about where we see the farms going forward, and we just have a bit of an open conversation. People can ask questions as well. By the way, this is an AMA, so if you want to ask any questions about the farm, about our future. Plans for Phoenix Plus and things like that, then we can hit on those. And we also want to talk about the burn strategy, what the backing of MDB looks like, and we can kind of talk about how we see the journey from here as well. So a lot of entries, a lot of random ones as a burn Virgil. I think one thing that I want to just sort of like, so there's no elephant in the room. What an interesting week for MDB. Wild.
It was an absolutely wild week. So what did we do yesterday? Like $120,000 in volume.
It was topped $130,000 at one point. If you obviously it's a moving 24 hours, right? But yeah. At one point, yeah, high, really, really high.
It's massive. But yeah, I mean we saw just a huge drawdown, but then we saw like just a huge right. I had to. It was like 6 a.m. for me, and I happened to look at my phone. And I just had to just shove my wife off me to get to my laptop.
I need to stop you. I need to understand how you imagine. So your lovely wife, she's like, "Hey, baby, we had a baby together. Let's have a nice moment before the little man wakes up and ruins another one of our days." And she, and you and you and you go, oh, 1 sec, I need to look at my phone. Talk us through that.
Well, I mean, I just woke up. I just checked my phone. She's laying. She's not awake. She's just.
Do you look at the MDB chart? Is that one of your morning checks that you do?
Discord. So I don't look at the. I didn't have to look at the chart to know what was going on. Right.
Yeah.
I saw something from you, I think. So I was like, oh, and then I looked at the chart, and then I was like, oh, here it is, because I've done the math on like our equivalent to launch price, our backing. So I saw it, and I was like, I need to get in here while we're at this point. So I picked up a little bit, and then we as a community, we shot right back up like 25%. Went down again. Somebody else out, and then we came right back, marching back again. So it was a very interesting day. Really, really nice to see everybody, hanging in there. There wasn't like, what's happened? Why is the price lower? You saw a couple of those, but for the most part, people were just really with it. It's been a great time. Yeah.
It's super interesting, wasn't it? It's super interesting. I saw it, and there was nobody talking about it in chat, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. What about? I think it divides opinions so much, right? Because I started getting DMs from people, and they're like, naturally, like, why would he sell in such an aggressive way? And I'm like, this is really good for us, and this is really like, just maybe I'm just too maybe too objective about this sometimes. Maybe I need to be a little bit maybe need to think slightly differently. But like, somebody selling, say for instance, $1,000 a day for 100 days is way worse than somebody just unloading the bag. And the opposite is actually, the style of sale is absolutely fantastic for us. It looks terrible on your chart, but from a purely math perspective, it's the best way to go.
Yeah, but I think that's some of the reason we want to share with like these math stats, right? Because it's a double-edged sword, right? We can sit here because this is our life, and to be Foxify, like, so we spend more time looking at this than probably even the largest investors. So to us, we can be like, yeah, the sell, but to somebody else who like, they're an investor. They're an investor first and foremost before they are a community member, before they own anything. So it's still hard for people. So that's not lost on us. That temporary loss in value on it, but it is so good for the protocol, as you're saying. Like, the taxes that come in, the burns that we're allowed to do, the increase of our own treasury dollars, and how we're able to impact and get down to that magical 100 million number that you've been spitting out recently, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it is, and it's really difficult to talk about it without it sounding like copium, because as you're saying it, you're like, this sounds like it's a coping method. But I think I won't say his name because it's not fair, but one of our larger holders, he DM'd me, and it's always like, you've got you see that like picture pop up, and you see the one, and you think, how are they taking this? And I opened it, and he was like, bro, this is insane. I can't believe it. We're going to earn so much by this. And actually, it was really interesting. He'll know, he's here now, and he'll know exactly that I'm talking about him. And it's so reassuring, because you're like, I think this, but I feel really bad because other people are like losing their minds because the chart's gone down and stuff. And I think, it's really it's an interesting experience to see how many people like really understand like the fundamentals. It's not great marketing, don't get me wrong, but you can't do anything about it, right? People are free to buy free to buy and sell. What you can do is sort of manage the protocol and design the tokenomics in a way which kind of helped us. And that, the holder that messaged me that, he said, like, we kind of need this to happen. Like, the more this happens, the quicker it's going to happen. And he was, saying to me that, this is, how long will it take us to burn sort of 2.5 million tokens? And we've just almost got like 10 days worth of work in an hour. right? And so it's you know, don't get me wrong, we don't you know, we if everybody held, we'd all be rich. Not financial advice. My favorite DGen line. But but in all seriousness, you know, you do need that crazy volatility, and I absolutely bowled over the amount of people that were like, right, okay, I get the numbers. This is silly. Let's kind of tear into it. What do you think, Alice? How do you feel about it all?
Obviously, initially, I think you see that on the chart and you're like, oh my God, like, but I think that was like, you know, a tiny amount of time. And actually, when you've seen the results, so like you've seen the volume, you've seen MDB, like the community and stuff, I think actually we probably needed it. I think it's, you know, I think I said yesterday, I might have tweeted, I can't remember, I said somewhere how actually what it's shown, obviously the MDB community has been a little bit all over the place in recent weeks. There's been a lot of tension. It's been, you know, quite negative at times. And I feel like actually this has shown how strong the community still is. The fact that there wasn't loads of people panicking, there wasn't loads of people in there like, oh my God, like, how could somebody do this? Obviously, some people would ask why, curiosity always, but there wasn't like this big drama. And if, oh my God, you know, if the second biggest holder is out, that means he must know something. We've all got to leave. And actually, I feel like in a weird sort of way, MDB needed it. That's my opinion anyway. But I don't think we knew we needed it until after the event, if you see what I mean.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and I think you know, maybe like the elephant in the room is, you know, clearly Virgil and Patrick, you know, had their issues, and by one of them leaving, actually, you know, it takes, you know, in a strange way, it kind of like it just takes away some of the sharpness out of it as well. So there's I think that's a really interesting assessment, actually, Alice. Yeah. I think but yeah, no, one thing I do want to share is that you know, completely, I think, especially when the chat's quiet, I think we probably pin too many things on optics sometimes, right? Because we're all emotional, and, you know, the chart's emotional. How busy the chat is, you know, can be an emotional thing. But we do see and feel those things, and then, you know, everybody just goes, wow, you know, and kicks in and jumps in. I think, like, for me, the learning lesson is, and that's why I keep talking about just having this daily revenue stream. It's really frustrating because from a trust fund perspective, just so people know, what we didn't want to do is, and one of our ex-VIP sent me a message about this and said, why aren't we doing something with you know, all of the liquidity we have in the trust fund at the moment? And there is a good reason. My response to that individual was that what we didn't want to do, and it's pure coincidence that I actually said, what we don't want to do is try and do something that's uber safe, and end up in like a multi-chain situation with all of our liquidity chasing 0.5%, because it would have to be, you know, it has to be like 6% APY or 8% APY to be super safe. But it does also mean that you've got to engage with the platform, or you've got to bridge it, or you've got to do something with the funds. And imagine, you know, losing that liquidity or getting it locked somewhere, or there's a hack or an exploit. And it's so important to us at this stage because we've got one half of it, you know, building the Foxify platform, we've invested in that, we're marketing it and so on, and then the other half is then having this liquidity. And it's interesting because it was literally 24 hours before all of the funds got swallowed up on multi-chain, and I said I don't want us to end up in a multi-chain situation. And within 20, it might have even been the same day later on, multi-chain went pop. Because it was already pretty, everyone already. I'm surprised that people are still using multi-chain, to be honest, because it was pretty broad knowledge that the founders had been arrested in China, and obviously crypto is illegal technically in China, despite that was like on TV and all this. But yeah,
that was weeks before too. Like, a good while before that they'd been arrested and like essentially disappeared from comment.
Yeah.
So it's very weird that there'd still be that much money on there.
I heard something, and I can't verify this, so don't want any sort of like defamation or slander suits coming at me, but I heard something that it turns out that it was all actually a bit of a mum and pop shop and just being run from somebody's bedroom in China. And it's the biggest breach with hundreds of millions of dollars on it. And yeah, they got picked up by the Chinese authorities. Obviously, they just said it's illegal. We wouldn't mind a few $100 million. We're going to confiscate this now because it's illegal. What I find fascinating, like if you confiscate a ton of cocaine and then burn it, I get that. Yeah, I get that. But when you confiscate something because it's illegal and then sell it, that's a bit hypocritical.
Yeah, very much so. But well, I was about to say if it's worth money, of course they would. But cocaine is worth money too.
That's my point.
Yeah, but I mean, governments have sold cocaine, so so technically,
you've been watching that Tom Cruise film.
Oh, yeah, what's that one called? Yeah, I've seen that, but yeah, I mean, Narcos. There's one here called I can't remember the name of it. Really good show though. Really good show. But basically about Freeway Ricky Ross.
Yeah, there was Tom Cruise one where he's running guns one way for the CIA, and then because he's got an empty plane coming back to the US, then they're like, well, you might as well take all of this cocaine, and so he's just sort of like picking up cash everywhere he stopped. Sort of like never running empty. Really interesting. We've got a couple of things to do. So we've got to do this giveaway for everybody here. What I want to do is talk a little bit about the farms. I just want to explain something with just really, really simple maths, right? And this isn't a shield or financial advice, blah, blah, blah. But if you think about the farms, you remember the early days of the farms when Xenia first launched, and we weren't, we've had big volume days, but typically, 20 to 40K has been sort of, on good volume days has been sort of where it was. And we were seeing like 250% plus APY on the farms. And the reason for that is a few reasons. One, the TVL was low. Yeah. So therefore, all of those taxes were being shared out between a smaller number of holders. Two, the price was relatively low at the time, somewhere between 0.004, 0.006, around about that time, quite similar to where we are today. And so the API was just like super, super high. Now, we obviously spent a lot of time up at like 1.8 cents, and we're now at a price that's about 1/3 of our all-time high, which is not great if people bought all-time high. And unfortunately, with anything, there's always somebody that kind of bought at the top, right? And I'm confident that eventually we'll get back there. But the reason the APY gets so high is not only those two things, but there's also like this mega compound effect. So when you look at if you looked at the price at all-time high, and you looked at, say, the TVL was 400,000 in the farms, and now a third of the price, the TVL is half. The compound effects of the mathematics and the impact then it has on the APY, which is why the APY was 7% before all of the drama of yesterday. The APY on the farms was 7%. We had big rewards yesterday, and it jumped up to nearly 70% on MDB Plus in one go. Remember, that's a 2-week average. So if you saw that as a line, it would be like down here, and then actually that daily APY extrapolated over a year would have been thousands and thousands of percent, right? But it takes a 2-week average, and even though like most of the volume, probably the last two weeks, happened in the space of a few hours, it pushed it up. And the reason you see that impact is because the TVL is half, so that would double the APY. And say, for instance, you get 20K volume all-time high, or 20K volume where it is now. Because the price is now 1/3, that also then triples. So you got half the TVL, which is doubled. You then get a triple effect because the price is a third of where it is. So doubled then tripled is 6 times. So with volume of around 20,000, it would be reasonable to expect that the APY now on the farms will be at least 6 times what it was when the farms were at all-time highs. So a lot of people did very well out of the farms. I had big farms actually, and there's a story for another day, but I don't have as much in the farms anymore. But you know, I did very well out of the farms that I had, and other people did super well again. And I just want to emphasize that we're back in that situation there where the mechanics of the protocol and the way the mathematics are designed, you know, when you're at 0.18, the percentages get really squeezed, especially if volume is low. Whereas we're back down in a position where even 7% APY, because of the math, would now suddenly turn into as much as sort of like 60-70% with very low volume. And actually, if we get any sort of decent volume, you could expect those APYs to be over 100%, even, you know, even if you had really good volume back in the sort of area of 200% plus. So I just wanted to emphasize that for anybody that's kind of here and new, that the farm today versus the farm, say, back in May we were touching all-time high, is a 6x return today from where it was when we were back at all-time high.
And ironically, that big, love the math by the way, but that big pop on the farms is the first week in 7 months we haven't done the farm frenzy. The farms exploded. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't do the farm frenzy. Is Frida back? I can't remember exactly when Frida's back, but I think it's 2 weeks we got no farm frenzy, right? So but yeah, it's that's just to share with you the maths, no guarantees. Crypto is risky, but you know, just on a like for like basis with similarly low volume to what we even had a couple of months ago, you would see 6 times the return on investment on the farms today than you would have seen 2 months ago, because of the pullback. So that's sort of like one of the pluses.
Cool. Alice, how are your farms doing?
I don't have any farms.
Not even MDB Plus on the farm? Nothing?
Nope.
Well, my farm's doing nice. It's important to have a diversified MDB portfolio.
I'm a very boring investor. I thought it was a really big deal when I put some MDB into MDB 30 actually. Normally it just sits there.
You're just committed. You're like my MDB is literally the new monetary system, and I don't need to do anything with it except hodl. That's savage. That's savage.
That's all I do.
But I think the issue with the farm is always that the risk is that you see depreciation on the farm that outstrips the APY. And when you start, if you combine sort of like our backing fundamentals with the APY sort of information that I just shared, when you look at backing fundamentals, the lower we go, you start reaching like it's you know, it becomes you know, if the price halved, say, from where it got to yesterday at the low end, you basically start reaching a point where it's almost mathematically impossible for it to keep going lower, because you might as well, you might as a protocol, if your backing was like 2 times the market cap, you might as well just buy all of your supply, because every token you buy and burn, you're exponentially increasing the backing of the remaining tokens if you're that far below your backing. So yeah, so getting in the farms with those fundamentals that I just described, but also having this like underside protection that, you know, the probability of seeing sort of the value of MDB from that point go like, you know, another 75% down is very difficult mathematically to do. So yeah, probably being super boring now. Should we share the wheel and see who's gonna who got involved in the trade action? I hope everybody on the wheel did trade, because we will have to disqualify people. But yeah, Alice, do you want to get the wheel up?
Yeah, let me just get it. Mhm.
I did the trade, but I did not fill in Zilly.
So everyone can see the screen, yeah?
Yeah, we can see something in the corner. What's that? Is that an ad or something?
Yeah, an ad or something. It's gone now. So there's another ad. That looks like Virgil's dog, all right, ironically. So we're spinning it 4 times, right? And
You see him in the
chances.
face of every child. Don't worry.
Okay. Right, should we do the first spin?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do them all.
Right, so the first winner of $50, providing you didn't cheat, is...
And if you did cheat, you've got until the end of this call to uncheat.
Barbarian Run.
He definitely didn't cheat. He didn't even need to do any extra trades. He just whacked his name in.
Danny, can you write these down?
I can. Bear with me a second.
I got it. I'll just take a screenshot of everyone.
I can. I've no issue doing it.
Is Barbarian Run watching?
Let's get number 2.
Next spin.
Oh wow! Right, these are all people that are trading every day, so it's good for them as well, actually, because I think a lot of what you do naturally is always focused on sort of getting new people through. So the fact that we get some winners of some loyal users and traders of the Foxify platform, not just some mercenaries trying to win a prize, is also pretty satisfying.
Yeah, those are Fox OGs already. Still in beta. They're already Fox OGs.
Right. Third spin. We've got
Whoa.
That was very close between K-Grind and Eve, wasn't it? Did you see that?
Yeah, it was. I thought it was actually. I thought it was KN, but my eyesight's terrible.
Maybe it was. I thought it was K-Grind. It's definitely K. One of the Ks.
Yeah, I thought it was KN. I thought it was going to, because he's definitely a Foxify OG as well.
Look, it's KN and K-Grind.
Yeah. But wait until we give out the special super duper roles within Foxify for everybody that has participated, i.e. connected their wallet and placed a trade throughout both perpetuals and options betas, and there'll be a special something for people with that role. So yeah, thanks for all the people that have engaged so far. The people that haven't, you snooze and you will lose.
That sounds ominous.
I like a lot of emphasis on that lose.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you'll lose everything.
Need beef is like we always have in the chat. If anyone wants to see sort of a casual good morning turn into a geopolitical transgender debate of all debates very quickly, and Need beef always seems to be like one side of it, and is it OXK who's like on the other side, and there's I feel like sometimes I'm reading a chat that I've read before because they have this same sort of back and forth on this topic.
Cool. Should we do the fourth and final spin? Last chance to win, guys. $50 for.
So this is Alice because she wants to get out of here, by the way. So she's just like, let's get it done.
Spike. I don't know who Spike is.
The new champ.
I hope he's not a cheater.
Better not be eating any pumpkin. I'm looking. 11:44 timestamp my time. So if I go in your wallet and the trade is after this moment, we're gonna have a long talk, Spike.
Yeah. Yeah, the really interesting thing, actually, somebody's just saying about we haven't talked about a lot for a while, getting to 1 million MDB. VIP. There's only there's 770 odd, or is it 786?
It's 787 or something like that.
787 million tokens left. When you look at multiple VIPs, and then you look at the amount of VIPs that are even possible now, you take 100 or 200 million off of that supply, and yeah, it's going to be very, very hard to stay sort of VIP long term. But if we can go out and get, I think I've always said, if we could get like 300 VIPs, 300 people holding $1 million and diamond handing, then the squeeze would just be absolutely insane.
Yeah, I wonder. I think we end up getting a couple new VIPs printed between the low price and the printing on the farms and pools. I think we had two. I think we had 2 people come into VIP that I saw.
Nice.
So it's another way to get in there too. Like, it doesn't just have to. It wasn't just a protocol. Taking our shot to destroy supply. It was people in the MC taking their shot to move on up.
Yeah, definitely. It does, and that was the interesting thing with an event like that as well, right? Because you can't. It's very hard when you're at the top end of a cycle to see sort of 25% very quickly. But if you can catch a big sale, you can you see sort of. I think some people must be sort of like quite a big chunk up from if you got in straight after that sale, then you'd be quite a big chunk up. Are you one of those people, Harley? Did you sneak in?
Oh yeah, I snuck in. There was a few people who bought before me, but I got in like right after the last big sell. It was like 6 something in the morning my time, and then a few people bought, but it was like 0.0043 or something that I got in. So
that's good.
That's very good. I think that was pretty close to. I think the bottom was like 4.2. So
it was 45 at the bottom. The very lowest.
So,
45.
It was what? Sorry.
The 425 was the lowest it went.
Yeah.
So I got very close to catching the bottom, which is the first time it's ever happened in my life, by the way. So pretty happy.
First time you've ever got it. Callum Barnes said we need new VIP and Millionaires Club amounts. So VIP is always 1 million tokens. So it doesn't matter if 1 million tokens is $20,000 or $4,000. It's always the same, and that's typically why you see VIP numbers go up quite a bit if the price is down. And then in cycles where the price is quite high, you see those VIP numbers come down a bit, because it's a little test. If you worked hard to get that VIP and then all of a sudden 5K is 20K, it's going from 4 figures to 5 figures is a test. Going from 5 figures to 6 figures and holding that is just a completely different level.
Yeah, and the MC, we didn't want to, obviously there's a drastic change in like what equates to $500, but we didn't want to. We want the price to settle a bit before we made the alteration there.
Yeah.
There's so many comments today.
There is
so many comments.
Loads of comments. I think we've got good attendance today because there was some. It was quite easy to enter this week. And entries were quite quiet. I think the last time we did it. So people are more interested in showing up if they think they got a chance of winning something.
I think as well, people are interested in showing up because you're talking about MDB and fundamentals.
Yeah.
I think people want to hear that, right?
Yeah, because you said we had 17. Like last week we had 30 something. So I think we still had more entries overall. But yeah, I think people are here, and I think, like you said at the beginning, it was an exciting week. And people want to hear about the fundamentals, and we've been talking in the chat actually a lot about math and sharing these things. So I think people are quite excited for that.
Yeah, and people have probably seen that Harley's doing a lot of work, and what we want to do is work. I've actually, despite the fact that we thought it'd be quite a while off, we've been there might be an opportunity to rework the MDB UI a little bit earlier than we thought, but don't hold me to that. And our plan is to use a rolling 7-day average of the number of burns. Our plan is to move into a situation where we're consistently burning, so that you do have a 7-day average, and so what that will enable us to do is to have some metrics which show, like, market cap's a terrible metric in our protocol actually. Like, people market cap's really low, but it's the relation of the market cap to its backing, and when actually the market cap, and actually when you burn supply, it doesn't affect the price directly. However, if you bought that supply, you've put liquidity in, and then you burned the tokens, then those tokens can never be exchanged for that liquidity. So it does change the percentages, and it does provide more securities. You know, you swap liquidity for tokens, and the tokens are destroyed. And if you think about what happens before you buy those tokens and then they're destroyed, it means somebody sells them. So if you look at even Virgil, right, who sold a crazy amount, if the price now ran up for a week and we suddenly were at 8, 9, back up to a cent, for instance, it's not like a tomb fork where it's just always being minted or rebasing. Once you've sold it, if that gets bought up, those 2 million that got burned yesterday, they can that's it, they're gone. They're never going to be able to come back. And that's, you know, so when you do burn, you actually reduce your market cap as well. You actually, because market cap is number of tokens, right? It's the price of the token is defined by the supply and the liquidity and the relationship of the two, and then the total market cap is number of supply times price. So if you reduce the supply and the price is flat, then your market cap reduces. So that's why, if you remember, people who remember from the very start, MDB was like 1 billion supply and 3 million market cap. But now what you'll see is that the correlation between the price and the market cap shifting, because every time you burn that supply, it basically gives you more opportunity for the price to continue outstripping the market cap. And in fact, if we burn 90% of the supply, then you're effectively creating a situation where just through burning with like for like liquidity, you would see a 10x in price if you could burn 90% of supply. Just the way the mathematics work. So when it goes down, I think there was a point yesterday where when Foxify launches, and this is at launch price of something that's going to have a very low circulating market cap. I shared some numbers earlier that Foxify is only actually going to have 35% of its FTV distributed in 12 months, actually. So imagine having something that, you know, a lot of it's vested from early investment rounds, and that will be vested sort of over that period, and you're only going to see a very small amount of supply. Most supply is never going to hit the market, so circulating supply is very low. So the reason I'm sharing that is because MDB's holding of Foxify will be on a very good base footing, because it starts at a very, very sensible circulating market cap. So that's the value of all tokens in circulation. And we were looking yesterday that there was a point yesterday where MDB pending Foxify basically would have been 100% backed. And if you're in a position where you're 100% backed and you could buy even $3,000-4,000 worth of your own supply a day, it creates an exponential impact. By reducing your supply and also buying in, you just create this exponential impact in terms of price, which is why, even though our market cap never, it seems to never look particularly interesting, that's because we're eating away at our market cap, which creates this opportunity for the price to outstrip it over time. So boring stuff for some people, but they're the fundamentals that over many, many years ultimately creates this squeeze situation where eventually you start running out of supply. There's buys coming into the LP, tokens are being destroyed, and there isn't tokens coming back in because there just isn't the supply to sell. And then that's where you start to see crazy exponential returns.
Yeah. If we can have the income on it, and then we have a day like yesterday, once a month, where someone just epic dumped their bag, like between that and the income, it would happen so quick. It would happen so quick, right? Like even the lowest amount of income, which me and Alice had a call earlier to go over it. So she's gonna put something together readable for humans rather than me and Danny just waxing poetic about the math of MDB here. She'll have something digestible for everyone.
Yeah,
but it's very exciting.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's one thing we need to do on the UI is just get into a situation where if prices are up, that's good, but the burn will slow down and the backing decreases actually. So you're in a position where the price is 3x, but actually your backing has dropped by 2/3, right? Mathematically speaking, and so but the opposite, but people don't mind that. Nobody cares if the price 3x's and but you're backing Sam. I don't care. I look at my wallet and it looks fantastic. DBank, is giving me a hard on. So who cares about the backing? Nobody cares about those things. But as soon as the price starts going down, actually, I think it'll be really healthy that the UI will show your backing going up, and at the same time your time to 100 million tokens also reducing substantially. If the price comes down a lot based on the average burn of the last 7 days, because it would say if I burned, I don't know, $5,000 a day for the last 7 days, and that $5,000 a day bought 1 million tokens, but now it would buy 2 million tokens. Actually, that's just halved your time to 100 million. So the UI will be, sort of like this balancing thing where actually it nobody cares that the fundamentals are getting worse when the balance in their wallet is going up, but at least it helps people to understand that whilst the price can go down, actually the fundamentals and the security of what you're holding is also increasing exponentially.
Yeah. No, I think it's something people.
Did I say the word security?
Huh?
Did I say the word security?
I think you said security, financial advice, a lot of other words. I think you actually shouted Gary Gensler's name several times, and then you yelled your address repeatedly. It was a very weird sequence of events.
I blacked out.
The man's high on maths.
I'll have to watch it back later to see me speaking in tongues. What were you going to say, Harley?
I don't remember. I was probably just going to go back into the math again as well. Oh yeah, no, I think the appetite is there for that as well, because I've shared math in the chats, and people are very, they either like it or they want to further explain. So I think having it on a dashboard will do it. Obviously, your DBank looking really nice. Like I said, it gets me the same way. Like, I fully understand these fundamentals. Basically like the height of humanity for NDB, and I still I see my DBank go up. I'm like, oh yeah, it's like I'm so well. Even though if I'm not selling, like my digital number has gone up, so I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah. Let's see. Still bullish at NDB. Thanks, Timothy Sully. We got 20 pairs.
I'm not selling when it's high, so I'm not going to cry when it's low. I've just got to wait you guys out. That's it. I've got to wait you guys out. You'll crack. I think there's a few. I'm going to say, I think the day DA Miller starts FUDing, I think I'll quit. I'll be honest. If he starts FUDing, I think I'm out. I think I'll start believing him and not believing me at that point. But yeah, I think Harley would be there, bitter end. But the good thing with Harley's a very low life expectancy. So
yep, you will outlast me. You will outlast me. Danny's like 3 years older than me, but he's gonna outlive me by 30 years. Yeah,
I did my first training session last night in. I think it's my first training session this year, actually. Yeah, first proper training session down at the running club, like with other, people that run a lot. It was. Do you want to hear what it was?
Yes.
It's intense because I know you. So Harley's a secret runner. Harley's a sub 5 minute mile runner.
A long time ago. A long time ago. I don't think I could run an 8 minute mile now, like without dying.
Without dying. But you would have run it.
I don't know. I ride bicycles. I do that now, especially working at this. So like what I'll do is I'll hit the afternoon when meetings, I'll get really good work done in the morning, and hit the afternoon lull, and then I'll go down there and I'll do stuff on Discord and things like that, and I'll pedal that bicycle. That's my cardio now. Then I do two things, 3 reps each, and then back to the house. But it's actually been much better because that's much more workout than I normally get. Because I'm more of like a team athletics guy. I like to play football. I'm down to play basketball. It's very hard to find guys in their 30s who want to play football.
Yeah, it's hard.
Very, very difficult.
Do you know what? I played a lot of football when I was young, like like real football that you use your foot for, and and it's just annoying, like relying on other people. But the thing about running is that it is your measure of performance is so binary. It's so binary. There's no like, oh, we had a bad game, or oh, if that goal had gone in, oh, if we hadn't had a player sent off, or oh, the goalkeeper had a terrible match. There's none of that. There's none of that. It's just like you run a certain distance and you did it in a time. And yeah, so last night I did, so I feel like I'm going to die, to be honest, today. So we did 1 minute hard, 30 seconds rest, 1 minute hard, 1 minute rest, and then a 700-meter lap, 2 minutes rest, and then we had to do all of that 5 times without stopping. So just on this continuous loop. It's horrible, horrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made it. And for people who don't know, Danny runs like 20 miles a day for no reason whatsoever. So if he was dying in that, I would never have made it. I would have gotten about halfway through that first minute, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go home. This isn't my bag.
So I've actually entered, because I do need a bit of a kick up the arse, and I've had like 5-6 weeks of running decent mileage and sort of getting into a little bit of a groove. I've actually entered 2 half marathons in September, and I've entered a 10K race in October. And I think maybe what I should do is get a jersey made up that like advertises Foxify on one side and MDB on the other. But there's new crypto regulations coming in the UK from October, which means that I could be prosecuted for that, actually. So maybe the September ones I'll do that.
You do it. Win Danny sponsorship.
Yeah.
Let's see.
When is MDB organising a 10K? We can't do anything on British soil. We can't. I don't even want to know if anyone is in the UK from October onwards. Yeah, the UK is not crypto friendly at all. Oh, nice. See, Eric, look at this. Look at this, just casually flexing.
You're breaking up on my end.
Really? I think.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I'm on cell, so I don't know.
Yeah.
For anybody in the chat.
What can get a little comment? Can other people hear me? Okay.
I'm not waiting on the chat.
We're running over time, and you can't hear me now, Harley. No. Am I back?
I can hear you now. It just it goes in and out, but it could be just me though.
So Danny, start a run club on Strava. Yeah. Do you know what? I haven't been on Strava for maybe a year and a half, a long time, Eric. But yeah, Eric just casually said he smashed out 14 miles on the trails this morning. So I don't want to geek out in front of him, but Eric, let us know how many miles a week do you run? If you've just gone and smashed out 14 miles on the trails, talk to us. You sound like a pro. And anybody who wants you to come on Strava means because they want you to see their Strava, right? So Eric's going to be like a bit of a hustler, isn't he? Do you know what Strava is, Harley?
I'm inferring that it's a running app where you compete with each other.
Yeah, not really. It's more like social, but people share with each other, and you connect with people, and then they can see your runs, you can see theirs. You do a race, and people go, "Oh, well done," and it's all.
So it's like nice. Instagram for running.
So but some people do put pictures and do some really weird stuff, to be honest, and other people just take the piss out of them. But there was this big scandal within lockdown, actually, because there was this. It was a footballer, like a real footballer, with his feet, and he'd basically gone out and he'd
start over from being touched by a feather.
He run like a 10K during lockdown. He's like, "Oh, glad I'm still keeping in shape." And he'd obviously start and stopped his watch, right? So he'd started, run a minute, stopped, had a rest, run a minute. So obviously all of the minutes combined looked like a really good. But he was obviously a bit of a newbie on Strava, and he didn't realise that you have an elapsed time on there. So So he'd posted. It was quite a famous thing during lockdown. He'd posted, and another footballer called him out on his elapsed time because he's I just smashed out 34-minute 10K, and his elapsed time was like an hour and 4 minutes or something because
It's so embarrassing. It's so
That's
embarrassing.
so embarrassing. Oh, Eric's
For a
still
professional athlete too.
Go on, Eric. What's your distance? We need to get off this topic now because everyone's going to be so boring. We need to pick the final winner and we'll get off. But I just want to Eric hit us. What's your optimal race distance and give us your PB? Didn't know we had an absolute legend. I run from two things: wild animals and the police. That's run from commitment.
We got some of my people in the chat. I like these guys.
I love that. I run from two things: wild animals and the police. That's brilliant. All right, so I'm going to try and pick a winner. Whilst Eric tells us his preferred race distance and also his time, which is probably me and maybe one other person that actually cares.
And don't forget your preferred pronouns. We all care about that.
Yeah.
We need a countdown.
Here we go. I can run a bath.
I can still do that pretty well. I can do that in under 5 minutes.
Look, there's some funny ones coming in. So we should have done a competition on jokes, actually. Funniest jokes. I love that. So, yeah, Buff Tony, I run from wife. Why are you doing an impression of Borat?
I run from wife. Go la 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 la. Let's see. Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt also asked earlier. He wants a countdown to 100 million, which Eric we actually have, but we're working on getting that public.
Look, the trash talking's begun.
Ooh.
I would honestly, the chart is for show. The fundamentals are for pros. Like you should be holding him up, right? You know, Patrick next. We need everybody. Come on. Yeah, I'm just trying to bring Cryptoholic back out of Discord retirement. If I keep saying this stuff, like he's going to come in and lose his shit, and that'll make me happy. So yeah, Eric, just to close this topic off, Eric 1:34.5, very respectable, and he's throwing that in. I just run 100 miler. That's insane. That's
your feet break? How's that work? I don't know if I've walked 100 miles in my life.
That's insane.
It's very far.
That is insane. Absolutely insane. So yeah, no. So Eric's our resident athlete. Cool. So we've got to pick a winner. I'm going to close my eyes in a really and the nearest one, say up or down?
Down. Okay. So, okay. I don't think I reached the hashtags. Oh, no. We did. Look, we got a winner. So really scientific. If you think I'm cheating, then tough. So the winner is somebody who we know in person, and his wife, who is an absolute hoot. Guess who it is? The Prof,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the Prof is the winner. So yeah, nice.
Congrats, the Prof.
Easy, $100. Open a ticket, buddy. Things have been a little bit slow on the ticket. I'll be honest, because we all miss Frito. He's super diligent, super on it, and we feel like our parents are away at the moment, don't we?
You do. He's the I always say it on like the Frenzies when I'm walking with him every week. It's like he's the heart of the community. And I really feel it now because I try to go in there and like lift up the community, and they're basically spit and say shut up, cuck, and they're like, we want Frito, and it's very mean, but it does show Frito's value and the respect he has.
Yeah, definitely. He's a love. He's like, I don't want to I hope he's not listening because it's embarrassing. But he's just genuinely like a really, really nice guy. So it's something that I am not. I'll be honest.
Yeah. No, it took a long time to believe he was that nice.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I've talked to him so frequently.
That's a reflection of you. That's a reflection of you rather than him.
I'm not as good a person as Frito. That's 100%. Like I would not argue that whatsoever. You know, I'm somewhere like everyone else on Earth. I'm somewhere between Frito and Hitler, right? Because those are the opposites of each other, right? I'm somewhere in the middle of the spectrum. Morality is a spectrum, but none of us can ever be Frito. So we don't ever tell him that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. He's a lovely guy. You just spent the first 6 months trying to work out what his hustle was.
Well, yeah, what's your angle? What's your angle, buddy? Yeah, you know. But I talked to him. You know, usually you talk to someone long enough, right? You can like pick up cues or something like that. You know, like the it's like in a relationship. You know, you hit 9 months, you know who the person is. You know, the stuff is worn off. But no, Frito's just stayed magical. Still committed to his kids. You know, he's out there in Austria right now with the troops. Been doing that since I've known him. Virtual run for FOMO blanket. Chat. I'm seeing a lot of new names in the chat too.
Yeah, a lot of new names. They're all Virgil's olds. You can't leave. Yeah, funny. Cool. All right. So Duprof, what a mate. Yeah, picking up. You know, the guy's already. You know, one of the top 10 wealthiest people. I can't remember the state where he lives. It's very quiet, isn't it? Where does he live
like
again?
Montana or North Dakota. I think it's North Dakota.
Dakota.
I want to say.
Dakota.
It's one of the Dakotas, actually. It's one of the Dakotas.
Yeah. Very, very quiet. Very quiet. So we already got a gift. Fantastic. All right, look. Well, it was real fun. We are trying to expedite the UI, even though we were thinking we'd do it all in amongst all of the sort of like Xenia V3 stuff and going cross chain. We are trying to expedite the UI, so that we can get some automated copium to get us through times of when the chart goes down a little bit rather than us talking to you. But look, appreciate so many people came along today. So yeah, thank you, and I hope everyone has a brilliant weekend.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Take care, Danny.
Cheers, guys.